What's going on YouTube? My name is Zach with Android Digest, and today I'm going to be reviewing a Surface Pro competitor, and that is the Lenovo Ideapad Windows Duet 5i. And this is a tablet that actually comes with the keyboard in the box. It's actually a tablet that has a kickstand built into the device, and I've seen it for very, very good prices here in the US. So with all that being said, let's get right into it, and let's talk about the Duet 5i. So this Duet 5i, it is very, very cool because I love having a tablet that actually has a keyboard that detaches. That's one of my favorite things because for me, I like to buy a tablet and then I like to buy a laptop. And when I buy a nice laptop and a nice tablet, it ends up getting very, very costly. But if you could find one device that does both things really, really well, it could save you some money and you could get some really good work done. And that's what this device is really for. It's for those people who like the Surface Pro device, and maybe you want a keyboard in the box, or maybe you want to save a little bit of money. Now this device, it does retail at a little bit of a higher price. It retails at almost $800. However, I did see this device whenever it did release at Best Buy. It went on sale shortly after its release, and I saw it go all the way down to $600. And they even had some open box items or some open box laptops that were right around $450 or $460. So when you factor all of that in, I could safely say that I would expect this device to continue to get regular sales, and because of that, I think it's a very strong competitor to the Microsoft Surface Pro lineup. And one reason why is just the unique features that it brings and also the unique design. Now, it's not so unique in the sense that it's very, very different from the Surface Pros, of course, because it does have that kickstand that is built in. It's really a nice aluminum on the back of the tablet, and this kickstand just feels very, very nice and premium and sturdy. If you look at it, it would look almost exactly like a Surface Pro in that way. It works the same, and it is very, very strong. It will hold up your tablet just fine. Now, if you look at the sides of the tablet, you are going to see a headphone jack, which is nice to see, and you're going to see a power button up and down on your volume and a speaker here. And on the other side, you are going to see another speaker and two USB-C ports. So you are going to get Thunderbolt on this laptop, which is awesome to see. You're going to get two USB-C ports that can charge your device. It does stink that they're on one side of the device, but one thing you might notice that's missing. This is a little bit of a deal breaker or a big deal for some of you. However, at the price point you might find this at, it might not be a deal breaker, but this does not have an SD card slot. And when you're looking at a 128 gigabyte model, that's not a lot of space for a Windows laptop, of course, because the operating system does take up a lot of space. However, I will say that you could always plug in an external SSD, an external hard drive, and it should be able to work just fine. You could always run a lot of programs off that. And when you're traveling so thin and lightweight, it's not quite as big of a deal to bring an extra hard drive with you, especially if you find this for a really low price. So that is a little bit of a knock with no SD card slot, and it's a little bit of a knock that you can't easily replace the hard drive. That is one nice thing with the Surface Pro lineup is under the kickstand, you could fairly easily replace the hard drive if you know what you're doing. It's actually not that hard to replace. However, if you're someone who doesn't know what you're doing, well, that won't matter for you anyway. But the reason why this is such a good deal, despite that drawback, is the other things that this device does offer. So this keyboard, for example, this keyboard is terrific. Now, it doesn't have that magnetic thing where it magnetizes to the screen and gives you that cool typing angle. However, the keyboard does feel a little bit better, in my opinion, than the Surface Pro keyboards. I love the keyboard on this device. And the other cool thing with the keyboard is that it's actually a Bluetooth keyboard. So this keyboard, if you actually detach it from the device, you detach it and bam, the keyboard could still work because there's a power button on the right side. You could connect it with Bluetooth and you could use this device with your tablet even if your tablet is far away. Now you might wonder, well, why would I do that? Well, there's a lot of reasons why. If you're someone who doesn't want to hurt your shoulders, maybe you're having to look down at your tablet while you're working, you might want to elevate it on your desk. You might want to put it a little bit higher so that your shoulders don't hurt so much or so that your neck doesn't doesn't hurt, right? You don't want your neck to hurt to where you have to look all the way down at your device. You might want to put it a little more level with your face. So you could stack up some books on your desk or do whatever you need to do, and you could put your tablet a little bit higher, and you could still use the keyboard a little bit lower, of course, because it can still work on your desk. So that's a really, really awesome feature that I absolutely love to see in this. And the key travel is also very good on the keyboard. I love how the keys feel on it. The keyboard does feel very, very sturdy and well built. It's not something that can easily bend. And the trackpad as well is very, very good. The keyboard does have backlighting too, so that's another good thing to see. So even though I would like that magnetic connection, I do absolutely love this keyboard. It's one of the coolest and most versatile features that I've really seen out of any keyboard from a detachable device, and I really wish other people like Microsoft would take note and put that in all of their devices and all of their keyboards, because I think that's really, really awesome. Now, if we look at other things like the display is very, very nice. It's a 2.5K resolution on the screen. It also has a 16:10 aspect ratio. It's a 12.3-inch screen with a 2560 by 1600 resolution. It's an IPS touchscreen display, and it does get very, very bright as well. So I love how it's like 450 nits of brightness. It gets more than bright enough for everything I needed to do. It's very, very color accurate. This is gonna go neck and neck with the screens from those Surface Pro devices. And that's where this device gets really interesting as a value proposition, because if you compare this with the Surface Pro 8, or if you compare this with the Surface Pro 9, you're gonna see that this is gonna be way cheaper than the Surface Pro 9. And if you see the Surface Pro 8, even on Black Friday or a lot of these great holiday deals, you're going to see a lot of them don't come with the keyboard in the box. And if they do come with the keyboard in the box, that's fine and dandy, but the screen is going to be about the same quality as this screen. Even the Surface Pro 7 Plus is going to have a lot of similarities as this, but if you see this device on sale with the keyboard, with almost everything that the Surface Pro has to offer, you're going to see that this is a very, very good device to buy at a very good price, assuming you find it on sale, right? And if you look at other things, the display or the performance of this device, you're going to see that this device stacks up very well against those Surface Pros. It does have an i3 processor, and you might say, oh, that's really, really slow. But if you compare this with the i3 processor and the Surface Pro 7 Plus, this is going to smoke that, because this has a 12th gen i3 processor. In fact, the 12th gen i3 processor here, it will be just as fast as the i5 processor from the Surface Pro 8. And that's where the competition gets a little bit heated, because a lot of you might be comparing this with the i3 model of the Surface Pro 7 Plus. But you have to understand that this i3 really does really good in my testing. It's very, very fast. It's very, very reliable. Now, the one downside of getting this device is it won't have the Intel Iris Xe graphics, so the graphics capabilities won't be quite as good as those Surface Pros with those Xe graphics. However, it still does very great as far as the processing power is concerned. It's very blazing fast when I'm browsing the web, when I'm just using it day to day. It's going to be able to get almost any task you throw at it done, absolutely no problem. So that's where this device, it's just very competitive with the Surface Pro lineup. It performs very well. Now again, with gaming, it won't be quite as good as some of those Surface Pro devices, and on some ends it might be, because this does have a fan in it. So it is an Intel i3 processor, and it does actually have a fan built in, and it does very well with cooling and everything like that. It does keep the device fairly cool. Of course, if you're gaming, it's going to get a little bit warm. But whenever I turned it on high performance and everything like that, I was able to play some MMOs on low settings. However, something like the Surface Pro could maybe handle it on medium settings or a little bit of better settings, right? So that's where you have to factor in the graphics capabilities aren't quite as good as some of the Surface Pros, but this device will be even better than a lot of those devices if you look at the processing power. If you look at the i3 processor in here, again, beating out the i5 processor or going neck and neck, right, with the i5 processor from last year. That is really, really impressive to me. And if you look at other things on this device, if you look at the extra features that it does charge with a USB-C charger, by the way. 65 watts is the charger that it comes with. It does just fine as far as charging this device. It does seem to charge pretty darn fast, at least as far as I'm concerned. So that's good. And as far as battery life goes, The battery life is decent on this. Of course, it won't be quite as good as some bigger laptops that could hold bigger batteries, but it will be very similar to a lot of Surface Pro devices. I don't want to give a big number out there because battery life varies so much by the person. If you game on this device, you might get like 2 hours of battery life. If you turn your brightness really low and you don't do a lot on it, well, maybe you'll get 9 hours or something like that. So it does just vary based on what you're doing. I'd say your average person might get around 6 or 7 hours of battery life if you're just browsing around, checking out the web, and doing some basics. But it does just depend on what you're doing and who you are. But I thought the battery life was okay on this device. Now the webcam is not very good. This does have face unlock. It doesn't have a fingerprint sensor, and the webcam and face unlock, it is nothing to write home about. Face unlock did seem to work pretty good for me in most situations, but again, it can vary depending on who you are and your lighting conditions and everything like that. So what do I think about this device and how does it compare with the competition out there? Well, it's a little bit tough because right now it's Black Friday season and the Surface Pros are going on sale like crazy, right? So it's really hard to really talk about the market because the market is going to be very up and down depending on when you're watching this video. But what I will say is if you're watching this video and you're comparing this to the Surface Pro 9, which has really not gone on sale much at all, well, this is going to do very, very well because it does have a 12th generation i3 processor. And if you look at that and compare it to the Surface Pro 9 out there, well, I will say the Surface Pro 9 is going to be way more expensive. And the Surface Pro 9, at least as of now, doesn't come with a keyboard. And when you factor all of that in, this is going to do very, very well as a good value. It's going to be a great value for you consumers out there who want a 2-in-1, who want some nice versatile features like that Bluetooth keyboard, right? But it could also attach to the device if you wanted to. So I really like this device. I think it's more than fast enough for your average person. I think it's great for a lot of office work out there. And I think it even has enough power to do a little more intense stuff. The graphics capabilities aren't terrific on it, and the storage is a little bit limiting if you do get the 128 gigabyte model. However, I will say the i5 model and the i7 models that have more storage, I would expect them to eventually come to the US. I've seen that with other duets from the Windows side that have eventually come over to the US. It does typically take a few months, and eventually the i5 and the i7 models come. So I do hope that they do bring those other models to the US one day. If you're not in the US and you see those higher tier models, those models are going to be terrific, especially if you find them on sale. Just compare them with the Surface Pros, add the keyboard price to the Surface Pros, and really think about if it's worth it. This does not have a 120 Hz screen. The SSD is not super easy to take out, so that is one thing that is a little difficult. However, this does have other benefits, again, like the really cool Bluetooth keyboard, and it does have a terrific 2.5K display, and the performance, at least with the i3 model, it's very good for your money. And if you compare it out there, even with the 11th gen i5 model, this will outperform it, or it will go neck and neck with that Surface Pro 8 that has an i5 11th gen processor. So this is a terrific tablet that I would highly recommend to so many of you, as long as you find it on sale. If you find it for $650 in the US or $600, you find it open box for even less, I would highly recommend this. This is a terrific buy, and definitely around the holidays, it's something to really look out for. This would be great for a student who just needs to do a lot of office work. It has plenty of storage for stuff like that, and you could always plug in an external SSD if you need a little bit of extra storage. However, if the storage thing is a deal breaker, sure, the Surface Pro lineup is great. But this goes neck and neck. I think it does very, very well. So what do you think about this device? Is it worth buying? Is it not? Feel free to leave a comment below. Also, if you have any questions about this comparison or you're having a tough time making your own decision, feel free to leave a comment there as well. And if you want to support my channel, feel free to give me a like on this video, give me a sub. That would be a great way to support me. And another thing you could do is use those affiliate links. If you decide to buy this for the holidays, one great way to help me out on the holidays is to use my links, and that does, of course, help to support my channel. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a terrific day, and I hope you enjoy your life, and of course, I hope you enjoy your week.